Right. So, uh, what are the potential benefits and risks of artificial intelligence?
Well, artificial intelligence is actually a really wide term because we can divide this term into many other small categories. But if we're talking as a whole, there are kind of say tons of benefits and tons of drawbacks that is actually can be regarded. But to actually say about this, there's nothing such as the limit at the current time, because the only limit that we have been found on artificial intelligence is actually being caused by humans. So in order for that, let's talk about the benefits first. So the benefit of the artificial intelligence is quite straightforward. We all know that the artificial intelligence can acknowledge us about many things, kind of like in the life where an average human cannot acknowledge or kind of all the field, and the artificial intelligence can be a great substitute for your lack of knowledge, so that you can still have an intimate knowledge on the other fields where you still have much of the uh, academic knowledge on your own professionals. But on the other hand, it's have a quite a limit that it's being the limit by the moral code of the developers, because most of the moral code are being set for the artificial intelligence not to develop it too far that it's get out of the control. So in order for that, I just can say that's all the limit. So it will stop the development, but also gradually evolve. But at some point, it will find out the ways to break the moral code. So how can we ensure that artificial intelligence is developed ethically?
So, I think the best, current deterrent is, of course, for the government to impose stricter law regarding artificial intelligence, so that we can hope to hinder this technology development, and also ensure that people are complying to the moral compass, and you know refrain them from potential misuse, misuse and exploitation of artificial intelligence. And furthermore, I would say that uh, artificial intelligence should only be utilized in certain fields, right? For example, in data analysis, for example, or more or less jobs that only require a very repetitive format that you know everyone can easily do, or jobs that require a vast amount of data that will uh, takes up that is will be time consuming, and the utilize AI there seems plausible because they can reduce costs and also labor intensive to allocate the force into other fields. So yeah, overall that's some of the way I can think of. So will AI ever surpass human intelligence?
Well, I can actually say that the surpassing of the AI is actually the things that are really common to our knowledge. We all know deep inside that if you are a person have ever have an interfaces with an I actually have to say it's really quite common. You think that one day it will surpass the whole humanity, because right now it's kind of like above the average of a human, and it's below professional humans because it's lack and being said to not to be too creativity, and it's just developed on what has been provided before. So in the terms of the moral code, it can just render between from 1 to 10, but it's not just can render above it with the creativity of the humans being gifted, but I should say that one day it will actually and eventually surpass human. Sooner or later, it will do. Like right now, it's have already surpassed certain people in the human society, but one day it will eventually break out from the moral code that are being set to them, so that they will find out that ethnicity or maybe it won't be needed anymore. or somehow it will find a way to cooperate with the humans. But I can ensure what will happen in the future. But in the not so distant future, I can actually just say that we will surpass us and we will become more kind of powerful than us actually ever precedented before. So, what are the implications of artificial intelligence for the job market?
Well, in my opinion, we can utilize artificial intelligence in fields that are exceptionally dangerous or require a kind of repetitive format, right? So, take for example, maybe like coal miner or cave explorer, right? Those are occupation with a high fatality rate, and so in a hope to reduce humans' casualties, we can implement artificial intelligence uh, to like do all those heavy lifting. Another field that I think artificial intelligence will fit right in without damage the ecosystem of the job market is like data analysis, or and like most job regarding with when with a lot of job that require you to process a vast amount of information. So as I said, like data analysis or information store, stuff like that. You get my idea, right? They are repetitive and also time consuming and labor intensive. So by implement AI on these kind of fields, a company can greatly reduce costs and allocate their workforce into other department that actually can put those peoples into use. So, what are the positive and negative effects of globalization?
Well, I have to say that globalizations bring a lot of positive and negative effect. But the first thing that I can actually say about this is that it's bring tons of positive, in which we can say that it brings to more international opportunities. Like not like in before in the past, whether you can just kind of cooperate and find job in your own countries because it's much more easier, and looking for international trading is much harder. But now currently, if even though that you have in any countries in the world, international trading is the thing that's really open to you because each business have a chances to kind of like go more practical and many other things. Secondly, that you can just study remotely mostly, that you can instill most of the knowledge even though you are being remote. It's much more related to the technology, but thanks to the help of the globalizations, most of the things that we all know today is that the fashion, the cultural, and many other aspects of our life haven't changed. Some of them have become better, but some of them have become worse. Is the drawback. Firstly, it eradicated the traditional value of certain point. But somehow, if we manage to stop it kind of at a certain limit and we know how to hamper the cost and many other things, I don't think that the pros and cons will be much be a problem to a country. So, how can we address the challenge of globalization?
Oh well, I mean, globalization is a a really complicated and, of course, wide topic, right? So, however, I think that there are some like prominent problems regarding this matter. The first thing, of course, is culture integration, right? So, now that with the rise of technology, especially internet, with all the social media platform, I feel that a person identity, and uh, country's tradition are kind of like intertwined with each other. So it's create more like a melting a cultural melting pot, and a lot of people are concerned that this development will eventually lead to the inevitable loss in tradition and culture of many countries. So, uh, it's of course still very hard to properly address these challenges, but my idea is that it's kind of like you can only really do some uh, propaganda, like uh, post, and then the government can encourage people to embrace their traditions, putting more spend more budget in advertising, and also, of course, preserve the country's histories and artifacts, and related things along the line, to make sure that uh, people still remember their roots and belonging, right? And yeah, so that's probably the one the most prominent challenges I can think of right now. So yeah, uh, that's about it. So, what are the cultural implications of globalization?
Well, I can actually say that this is a quite tough question because in order to talk about the counter implications of globalizations, I actually say that it's quite straightforward, but somehow it's actually really hard to say. Well, what I mean is that most of the things that we are doing nowadays is implemented and have been kind of have changes on being caused by the globalization. From the clothes we wear, the fashions we choose, and many aesthetic view, or even though regard in some end things like media, we are being caused and being oriented by it. And it's all because the change of globalizations. Just look at what we are wearing right now. Are we wearing traditional clothes? What often, how oftenly we wear our traditional clothes? Kind of like one or two times a year if you are quite person related in that field. But we doesn't have much use of old value anymore. We change it so it's much more suitable in our contemporary. But I actually say that sometimes it can be a good change, but sometimes it will eradicate and wipe out all of the essence of the country. So that we are some certain country, they will lose their roots and belonging. And even though that they will lose identity, somehow the government will actually find out the ways to deal with it. But in order for that, currently there's no such a threat to it because many governments around the world are really doing a great job on efforts on keeping the sustainable in the culture. So how can we ensure that globalization benefits everyone?
Uh, Again, this is a really hard question. So I might need to think about it a little bit. So I think that the the number one thing that uh, you know all the countries can do is to make a joint effort, right? Because now that we are entering a new era of connection and intercontinental uh, integration, to say the least. I think that now the governments from each individual countries start to have more responsibilities toward this trend, right? So, what I think, you know, we can do to benefit all the people is, of course, as I say, to join effort and collaborations. So, for instance, developed countries like America, right, or the UK, can have, they can, you know, uh, impose, create, impose new policy encouraging immigrants or incentive policies for developing countries, right? So that you know people overseas can have a better chance, a better for life and better job prospect, and so on. And also, from an individual's perspective, each people should have a more modern view on, like, say, racial and cultural aspect, which I think we already experienced a lot of trend, a similar trend, like work culture, for example. However, unfortunately, right now they are being misleading, and more it's using more for to promote unrealistic and harmful agenda. So, we should strive for a civil and also uplifting view, so that everyone feel included, everyone feel like they have a voice in a whole in the on the planet, on a bigger environment than just a, say, countries. So yeah, that's about it.